Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Kurosh, joined always by my co-host, Daniel Vargas
Hello.
and Danny J.
Gummies in my tummies.
And if you're not familiar with what we do, we come to each and every week to podcasting services of your choice from podcasting locations of our choice. We sit around tables most often pre-quarantine, and we have some fun. We talk about nerdy stuff, pop culture, movies, games, everything in between. We try to have fun. We hope you have fun with us. If this is your first time joining us, welcome aboard. We hope you have a good time. If this is not your first time, this is episode 176. You know what you're in for. It's going to be a fun ride today, I think. An exciting, wide variety of topics we got. But before we get into the topics, let's. What have you guys been up to this week?
I haven't touched Final Fantasy, even though I said I wanted to beat it.
Oh my god!
But
Oh my god.
I've played some Last of Us
The first one? What?
part 2, and we'll have some things to say about it in the topic. But yeah, I
Okay.
played some Last of Us.
Exciting.
I've gotten everything set up, and I am officially going to be working from home starting tomorrow.
Wow.
So that's also not cool. I don't know. I've always been like a person who just I see my home as a place to relax, and so it's going to be very tough for me to work. From
Yeah, it's definitely like it blends the boundaries. Like I remember the first few weeks I was doing that. It was just PJs and relaxing loungewear, and like it was nice on occasion, but like most days my mentality as a result of that was not there. Like my
Yeah.
productivity. So like I would actually just sit there and wear like my jeans and stuff and just be like, okay, I'm in my work clothes.
Yeah, that's something I definitely need to do. Is I have a specific area in the room where like it'll be obviously my workspace, and then I think I'm gonna have to like every day just get ready as if I'm gonna go out. And
I'm just in my underwear shit.
I can't like I have to that mentality like I
Like
have
right
to
now,
get
dude.
ready. I gotta
I'm
like
gonna
take
switch
a
the scenes.
shower.
I'm gonna switch the scenes on you.
Gotta take a shower. Gotta get dressed as if I'm gonna go out, and then I'll probably just go to that corner.
Me, set the alarm 5 minutes before my work start.
Get up from your bed, go to your desk.
I mean, I feel like you guys are lucky that you're able to do that, but I can't. I need to like mentally prepare.
It definitely like ebbs and flows. Like I'll have days where I'm like, all right, I'm on it, and then other days I'm like, I literally am next to my computer and I'm just so out of it, and I'll
Yeah.
like lay down for a second. I'm like, I just need to lay here, and I'm like imagining people like I'm always on calls with people at work, and like what's funny is hearing how their setups are. Just like the connections are super shoddy. Like thankfully, I think like the three of us, like I would say, have pretty solid internet compared to most of the people on my calls. Like they're just like cutting in and out, and you're like, I can't work with you solely based on the fact of your internet quality.
No.
And then like they were showing statistics in that first week. Normally we were able to like use YouTube,
Yeah.
but since at the very beginning of the quarantine, they showed a statistic of like average computer usage data, and it was 90% like people like using not things they were showing.
Pornhub.
And they're like, okay, we're disabling those sites that we used to be kind of like okay with.
It's
And,
funny.
and I'm like, why are you even doing that? You're at home.
I know. I get just
Like you have all these other devices you can do. It's just
Funny.
dumb. But yeah. So welcome to that. Are you still playing WoW?
No, I actually haven't touched it, and like I've I've canceled the subscription, but it's still like
What?
I canceled it just as like it restarted, so I get like a whole month with it. But I
Oh.
mean
I got a call right now. Hold on. But
the last
the
thing
monkey
I
on the
did
phone.
was I had made a hunter. I had made different classes. I was like, I don't know who I'm gonna level, and then I ended up making a hunter, and I was able to just level him all the way up to 60. But once I got to 60, I realized like, man, it's too much work to like do end game content. Like I have to schedule raids with my guild and be on time, and I'm like, man, this is like work. So I immediately got level 60 and then haven't logged on since, pretty much.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with WoW. So it's been, I don't know, a few weeks since I last logged on.
Jang, what have you been up to?
I have also played The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, we're gonna get into it more in depth, but I'm at a point where I don't care for it.
What?
Not because the story is more a gameplay thing, and we'll talk about it. I don't know if we're gonna go into spoilers or something, but
I think not. But we can. Yeah, we can.
okay, all right. I'll talk about it vaguely, but I finished Trevor Noah's book, and it ends fucking well.
What's the name of the book again?
Born a Crime.
Okay.
Because like it's illegal to, you know, for a white person to have sex with a colored or black person, and so technically he was illegal, you know, growing up in South Africa. So that's why the book's title is Born a Crime. But it's like, I kind of wish it talked more about how he became a stand-up comedian. It didn't really talk about that. It was more about how his life was growing up, and it was a little bit more about his mom. But it ends pretty fucking good. Like it's like Trigun. Like it's funny, and then the last chapter is fucking dead serious. Like it just takes a crazy ass turn. It's like a serious ass book. But yeah, enjoyed it. I didn't read Kuroshi's copy. I'm sorry. I had the Kindle version. Dude, I'm in love with digital books, man. Like, so I hate Amazon because they keep on sending me this email about Kindle deals, and like I'm always buying 2 books and like finishing 1 book. Every day they send me this thing, and like it's so hard not to pass up because these books are like $1 to $3, and they're like books I want to read. So I'll just fucking buy them, you know. But I don't like digital only because you're not really owning the books.
Sure.
It's more like the rights. But yeah, I mean, just note taking. It's perfect for me.
So I usually, when I would use it, I would highlight. But are you actually taking notes within it too?
Yeah, I'm highlighting like crazy.
Okay, so you're just highlighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought a new Kindle.
Cool.
This is my 3rd Kindle. So you know how I wanted to buy a scooter or like a 1-wheel?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really need one, and I just bought a Kindle, like almost a $300 Kindle. I bought the best Kindle you can get.
Which one's that one?
Is it in color?
The Oasis. It's not in color. So yeah.
Oasis?
Kindle Oasis. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. I mean, the only difference is lighting, and you can actually listen to audiobooks. And it's bigger screen, and then there's buttons on it. But to be honest, if you don't have one, I would recommend the Paperwhite. Don't get the Oasis.
Does the Oasis have similar to Paperwhite where it's like the background lighting, or does it have actual like the foreground?
It has background lighting, but the Oasis has more lights on it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And I believe, so I have an old Paperwhite. I believe the Oasis is glass, so it feels nice. The Paperwhite is like plastic. Like the screen is plastic, so it feels kind of weird.
Yeah, I've seen a white, and it's like not too bright or whatever, but
it's pretty. I mean, I've had the Paperwhite. I don't remember. Let me see which one I've had. I forgot the model because I remember I upgraded.
I'd assume if you compare it to the Oasis, you'll see that the Oasis is way brighter.
Yeah, but
yeah, I'm just saying it's still substantial.
I would get the Paperwhite. Don't bother with the Oasis. Like, just if
you got it because it's the same name as the VR in which one? The Ready Player One. That's what it was.
Oh no, it's just like, why not? I also bought an air fryer, and I've been eating roasted chicken for this is my 4th day. and
the roasted chicken is all the air fried through the air fryer?
Yeah. And at first I was like, man, I really don't want to eat this, man. Like, I'm trying to eat a lot more healthier, and it's not bad. Like, I'm kind of used to it, but then it's kind of funny because like every time during dinner, I'm like, fuck, I'm not looking forward to eating chicken. I'm not looking forward to eating chicken breast, but so far it's not bad. I will see how this. So I want to eat healthy at least like Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, you gotta live a little, right? So eat healthy for the first 4 days.
I mean, it should technically be just a cheap meal for one day out of the week.
It's like cheat weekend, dude.
you got 3 days for cheating.
But I mean, it's a lot healthier than what I was doing before, dude. I would eat fucking horribly, dude. Like in the weekday, dude. Like bad, dude. Chili cheese fries, like it's bad. But I do kind of want to lose weight, so we're eating healthier. Yeah.
Are you riding your bike again?
I'm gonna incorporate workouts next week. I'm slowly like integrating shit, but like this week I didn't want to do because my sleep schedule's still fucked up. Like,
yeah.
But I've been eating organic chicken breasts, and like I feel a lot better. I don't know if it's like a mental thing. I'm tired as fuck, but I feel a lot better. Like eating like normal chicken breast is actually, I don't know, like I've heard it's not that good for you because of all the hormones you put in it. But I mean, if you look at the size of the chicken breast between an organic one and a normal one, dude, the ones with hormones are fucking huge. They're like 2 times as big as the organic ones. Yeah, just pump them full of like hormones and shit.
I mean, I think it's a mix of things, but I think more it's mentally, like, because when I was like cooking for myself, I felt like I was doing really well.
I'm looking at the size comparison.
It's like double the size. Like you get more chicken, and it's cheaper too. So organic is a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel better though. I don't know if like I feel a lot better. Maybe because I'm eating healthier. Maybe it's just eating chicken. You know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
You're gonna change it up, dude. You're gonna.
And yeah, I'm slowly phasing out the diet soda. This is the last week. I mean, I'll still drink it, but not as much. So yeah, we just read books and stream, dude. The Last of Us. I'm pretty surprised that people are actually watching me play. I honestly thought no one was gonna watch me, but it's like one of my better like performing streams, which is crazy.
Wasn't it when you played the first one? How did that?
It was good. It was well. It was, dude. That was on YouTube Gaming. It was extremely well.
I think part of it could be like people enjoy those games to like as a viewing experience, and maybe not so much to play them. Because like, I don't know if everyone's as big a fan of stealth. You know, hard. Like when you were doing Last of Us, you were doing like the brutal difficulties and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing for me is like I mean I was a huge fan of the first one, but I don't know. I think it's because again I'm not in the mood to play games still, and so I'm having a hard time like getting into it. Yeah, like I really enjoy it. Like I mean we'll talk about it, but like gameplay wise or like wanting to play, like I just don't have an urge to play any games right now, and this is like on the next level because not only is it like stealth and stuff, it's like super brutal, you know, like there's so much going on, and it's like fuck man, like it's very it takes away energy from me.
Yeah, it definitely takes.
It's a downer.
Are you playing on normal difficulty?
I'm actually playing one step lower than that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to have to deal with having to like fuck everything up or whatever.
Right. I mean, I was thinking in terms of like the energy it takes. Like the harder the difficulties, the slow.
Yeah, dude, I can get hit like 16 times and I'm still fine. And I'm like finding shit like left and right. Like I'm maxed out at everything. And I'm still finding gear, and I'm like, oh fuck, I don't have room for anything else.
So I found the Kindle I have is actually discontinued. It's the Voyage.
Oh wow.
And that one I like a lot. Like the screen brightness is really good. It had the little like if you hold it left or right hand, it would turn the page.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Nice.
I don't know if that's all of them thing, but yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to Twitch. I know people are very critical of them, but dude, so I was afraid of getting spoilers. I mean, I already know 2 spoilers. One happened, I saw it. I was afraid that people would come in and spoil it for me, The Last of Us. But Twitch has an option for followers only mode. So I turned that on, and you had to have followed for 2 months. So like, I mean, if they're gonna spoil it, it's gonna be people I know. And so like, shout outs to Twitch, dude. Like,
For that feature.
yeah, dude. Like, I know I shit on them a lot, but that's one good fucking feature. And it was crazy because the first night, people were coming in, I think trying to spoil it, but, you know, they can't say anything, and they would just leave. And it's like, I think that kind of helped viewership, too, because it's like double digits. People would say, oh, shit, all these people are coming in trying to spoil it for me. And I think I even mentioned, oh, you got to be a follower to, like, chat. And then people would follow, but then they didn't realize you had to follow for 2 months. Like, got 'em. Or they could unfollow, whatever.
I mean, it does tell you, like, it'll say follower mode, and if you try to type something, it's like, oh, you have to follow, and then when you follow, it's like, oh, you'd have to follow this guy for 2 months, or whatever setting you put. It'll let them know.
Yeah.
So they'll realize it.
So shout outs to Twitch, man. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, for me, I've been like, okay, so I started off, I finally, like, we're on Animal Crossing and on the stream right now in the video. By the way, for people watching and listening, not only do we do YouTube version of our episodes, we also stream it live on the days we record. So if, you know, if you're listening to this later, it's obviously you're gonna miss it, but know that usually every Thursday is when we're recording. So check us out on Twitch.
Well, we stream it live when we're doing it like this, though. If we're together.
Right. Like if we're online, like in this quarantine environment. But anyway, yeah. So Animal Crossing, I've been working on this Ren Fair stuff, and I finally had my kind of Ren Fair gathering. We did a Zoom call. And like, I was telling people like I sent invites in the game as well, but I also sent like emails to people in text, and people showed up and we had a fun time. Even people that weren't playing, like I had on the Zoom call and I was showing them what we were seeing, the Animal Crossing players. It was pretty fun. Like it was an actual I hadn't really up until then done anything where like more than 4 people were on an island and like just goofing around.
Yeah.
But like it was sort of like what we're doing now. They were trying to hump things, and I was like, it was the funniest thing. I'm like, why is it? I think they did an update maybe, or maybe it's like the host of the island keeps getting a warning every time you try to move it. And so it kept like pausing it for me, and everyone else is just like going at it. But people were just running around the island goofing around. So that was a lot of fun, and I was like so relieved to have finally done it, and I'd be like, okay, there's no more pressure of like making this and all these things, but it was definitely rewarding, like to make a theme. I'll eventually do another one, but I have no energy for it right now. Like, so the funny thing, I was talking a little bit before the podcast. On Saturday, one of my villagers was like, I want to bounce, and it was actually one that I was like, if this person chooses to leave, I'm okay with it. And they were like, yeah, and I was like, okay. So then I was telling myself, I'm like, okay, so that means Monday I'm gonna have to I'm gonna try at least to see if I can go to a few mystery islands and find a villager. And Monday came around and I just wasn't in the mood. I was like, I don't even want to, like, all the Renfair stuff was great, but it took a lot of energy out of me for Animal Crossing that I was like, I need a short break. So I just kept putting it off, and I was changing the date to like stay on Monday to like be like, okay, I can just get to the mystery stuff. But I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't letting myself do anything else as a result. So I was just in this paralysis with the game. So anyway, we were getting ready to record, and like I forgot that I had done that. So it's just been like, it's a few days off now. I forgot. I was like, oh shit, I'll change it, and it had already registered, and it was like, oh, someone's moving into your island. I'm like, fuck. And it tells me who's moving the island, and I was like, oh shit, nice, it's a villager I like. Not only is it a villager I like, Katie and I had ordered through Etsy some like those amiibo NFC things people have been selling for cheap, where like you can like have villagers, and one of the ones I chose is the villager I ended up getting randomly just now.
Nice.
And that villager is Lucky.
Oh, nice.
That's the
which
sheep.
No, Lucky.
It's a cat,
is-
right?
No. Animal Crossing. I want to just verify I don't talk about my ass. Lucky's the mummy dog.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. So I was pretty happy about that.
That's a good
funny.
one.
And it was fun. Yeah, it was like, not only is it one that I cared about, but it was the fact that I got the card thing. It still hasn't arrived because it's shipping from like China. And like, it's at the border or like the international, like the customs, whatever. It's been there for like 4 weeks now.
Not anymore. Like, doink.
So that was funny. But yeah, Animal Crossing, not too much. They did send an update though that there's going to be some new stuff. The swimming is coming.
Finally.
So Jang, you were saying Pascal was going to be a temporary thing?
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know.
Okay. The way I was watching
Well,
it,
okay,
I
is swimming
thought
going to
it
be
might
there forever, or is swimming a seasonal thing? That's the question. That's the answer.
Yeah, I think if they answer that, that'll definitely tell whether it's.
He's the coolest. He's probably top two, probably second best NPC, if not the first. Maybe the first best
Why?
NPC. You'll see. He drops knowledge, dude. This fool drops.
Oh, okay.
He's like philosophical. He drops fucking knowledge, dude.
Okay. I'm excited. It's like next week?
Like I always look forward to talking to him. Like that's like, oh my gosh.
Cool.
And the way
it's not
he-
like a once in a while thing. I don't want it to be like Red, where like I see him once a year.
Yeah. And to like talk to him, or he only appears if you catch a red scallop, and those are kind of hard to catch. And so once you catch it, he'll pop up. You're like, hey man, why don't you trade me that scallop? I'll give you some furniture. And then once you like trade, he gives you some knowledge.
I see. So I know you are big on the fishing in Animal Crossing. Are you gonna do this?
Yeah, I mean shit. I think
Okay.
I've skipped fish and bugs because I haven't been playing. So
I
I mean,
thought you like moved around for the fish.
I mean, I could time travel. It's no big deal. I have no incentive to like time travel because golden tools break. So there's like really no incentive for me to like go for it. You know, I was trying to go for it, but
Oh, okay.
Since tools break-
I thought you had already finished.
no.
doing that.
He was
Gotcha.
given a golden tool,
Oh yeah,
which I'm assuming broke already.
yeah, probably, yeah.
So outside of that, I did Pathfinders again this week. We're like this is our first actual dungeon.
Yeah.
We're raiding. It's like a fort, and the funny thing was like we spent so much time. I don't know if I mentioned last week. So much time preparing to cross a bridge to enter that fort. Like we were just anxious. Like, okay, is everyone ready? Doing the right thing? Do this? How do we go across? And we took forever. It's like 2 whole weeks of sessions, like once a week sessions, and we finally got across the bridge like flawlessly. Like 2 of our guys just like they had all the perfect rolls. They dodged everything across. They swiped. They killed 4 guys in like 2 hits, and they disabled the trap and everything. And we get across, and we were supposed to get this NPC because this NPC has like a grudge against someone in the castle, and we are like, okay, we don't want to get on her bad side, so we're gonna let her kill this guy. So we give her this exploding spear, and it has like an AOE damage. It's just fucking. It's like a nuke.
Yeah.
So we're like, and she has got amazing rolls. Like everything she rolls automatically gets like a +10 and all this stuff. So it's like, okay, there's no way she's gonna fail. So we're like, okay, we've cleared the whole front like miraculously faster than we expected, with very like flawlessly. And we're like, okay, time for you to run it across. So we get her to run across, like perfect. She's running with the spear like the Olympic like torch thing. And we're like, all right, throw it. And it's an easy hit. Like there's no way you can't miss. Like we weren't telling her to hit the guy. We were telling her to hit the wall in front of him. And just the wall will detonate the thing and explode him. And it was just high enough if she threw it at this height that we would be outside the AoE. Because it was like 30 feet up, but it has a blast radius of 20 feet. And he rolls. And the only thing he doesn't have to roll is a 1. Because she has a +10. So literally 2 and out, she's hit it. Like,
So
done.
2 all the way through 9.
She-
Or 6.
She got a 1. And it shows like a red 11. And we're like, what does red mean? He's like, that means you rolled a 1. And when you roll a natural 1, like that means something bad happens. like regardless of the. So he's like, she trips, she throws the spear at ground level, so it hits the wall, but now we're in the blast radius, and literally everyone that like had made it across the bridge. I had just gotten across the bridge too, and earlier I was in the blast radius of one of those nukes that we used,
Yeah.
and I had barely survived. I was on the edge of that blast radius, on the outside of it, and like my friends were like, "Your character must be like traumatized by these spears," because literally in a matter of like a handful of minutes, he's seen two of them explode. And we've gotten everyone fixed up now, but like that was like a horrible. Like it went from like flawless to like just horrible in like a blink of an eye.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then outside of that, so Destiny, they have a huge expansion coming in September,
Mm-hmm.
and with it, they've said they're going to vault away a bunch of their content, like some of the earlier raids, like Leviathan, and
Right.
some of the earlier planets. Like the planets themselves will be like unavailable for whatever context, and they're like, okay, you have this season to like do whatever things you want to do with that, like any specific quests or any specific items you want to complete. And so I've kind of used it as an opportunity to do that, like just go back to this stuff that's older, but like now easier. And there's a lot of groups always running it. So I'm just going through and doing some of it, but at a somewhat leisurely pace because the season's like like a bunch of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then The Last of Us 2, I've been playing a lot of. Oh, we can talk about that. So,
I'm curious.
I mean,
to
yeah,
know
we-
how you guys are at.
yeah, we can go into topic number 1, which is Last of Us 2 impressions. The game came out last week, I think Thursday after we recorded.
Yeah.
Started and
You started on
yeah,
Thursday
it came
night.
out. Yeah, it started Thursday night,
Dang.
and then so it was fun. I want to talk about Jang's stream real quick. Is for a while I started playing that early, so because I wanted to watch his stream and I didn't want to spoil it, so I was like, okay, as long as I'm ahead of him, I'll watch his stream, no problem. There was like 1 or 2 days where I was just so tired or not into playing it or whatever for whatever reason, and I took a day or two off and I came back and I watched a little bit and I was like, oh shit, I think he's he's just behind me, and I looked at it again and I was like, oh shit, he's where I'm at, and I was like, oh shit, he's ahead of me because I saw something. I'm like, nope, that's not where I'm at, and I clicked it and I closed it. I was like, okay. So I was like, that motivated me to like get back on it hard and play more.
Jay, just to let you know,
And now I don't know where we're at. I don't know if you're ahead or if I'm ahead. but
you're gonna be ahead because I won't play it till Saturday. So
when was the last time you played?
Tuesday.
Play. Oh, okay. I think I'm ahead then.
I'm at the halfway point. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm at the halfway
Okay.
point.
Yeah. I'm ahead. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about it. So I feel. Do you guys want to like leave spoilers out? Like not going into some of that.
Wait, how far are you?
Where you
Vargas?
so
So
Wait,
I mean, let's just talk about like
spoilerless. How far?
we'll keep it spoilers. If we go into spoilers, we'll let you guys know. But for right now, I didn't even buy it until Sunday.
okay.
And I bought a physical copy, so I had to like off Amazon, so I had to wait till Tuesday for it to come in. So
Oh, sure,
Tuesday's
okay.
when I got it, and I didn't play it until like 2 days later after.
Wild Vargas would have finished it already.
Part of it was like I was thinking, I'm like, Jang and I are like looking at each other's stuff, or talking about it in his chat, and I'm like, Vargas has been quiet. I bet you he's beaten it already.
No, that's the thing. Like again, like I just haven't been in the mood to play like games at all.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I essentially like forcing myself to really play it. But when I finally decided to play, I played it really slow. Like when the game starts out, you know, and you're on your horse, I super slow. I was just like taking in the sights and everything. And honestly, like, dude, first impressions, if I didn't know any better, I would have been like, dude, this is PS5. Like, this is like already on PS5, you know? But we're playing it on PS4, and it has just amazing graphics. First of all, like they're really really good. I haven't touched the first one, so I can't compare. But I remember the first one looking exactly like this one, But I feel like if I go back to the first one, it won't look like this. You know, it'll look a little bit
What
less.
what blows my mind is when I think about the first one. I know I played it on the PS4, but that was a PS3 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That still blows my mind.
Yep.
Isn't Grand Theft Auto 4 a PS3 game?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Okay,
but
so
yeah,
you
like-
didn't start until like Tuesday. How you'd say how
I
many
didn't think
hours you're into
Wednesday
it?
or
Or Wednesday?
when did I start?
Literally yesterday.
No, I think I started Thursday when we did the recording last week.
What?
I guess
Probably.
I don't understand. How does that work?
Well, we didn't talk about it last week. I mean, or
Last week it came out.
did it? Well, then when?
Yeah,
Hold on, it
last
came out
week it came
Tuesday. Oh, then yeah, probably like Wednesday is when I started. Then. Yeah.
So part of
pretty-
quarantine is we lose all sense of time.
Yeah, I'm dude, I
Time
don't
clock,
know.
John Clover.
What is time right now? I don't know. I played it twice, and the first time I played it for 2 hours, and then the second time I played maybe 4 hours. I put 6 hours into it.
so. You passed the crazy moment. I'm just gonna call it the crazy moment.
So I just got past the point where it says Seattle Day 2.
Okay. Okay. I kind of know
So-
where
He's
you're at.
past that crazy moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, it's
assuming-
past the crazy.
So I had stopped. So I stopped 2 hours into the game, but I'm pretty sure if I played it like at the speed I would normally play it, in those 2 hours I would have gotten to the moment you're talking about. But I literally stopped just before that moment. And so when I
Oh.
played today, I was like, "Holy shit, what is happening right now?" And it enticed me to keep playing, but now I'm at a point where it's like it's too open.
Oh
me,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
open
yeah,
world.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, holy fuck, there's a lot to do right now.
Okay, so on a high level, what do you guys think of the game? Like, just overall,
It's
like,
e-
what
it's-
you've experienced so far.
It's easier than the first by far.
Are you
On
playing
a
it? You're not playing it on the hardest, though, right?
I'm playing
Or
on
you-
normal, but I mean, it's
Okay.
easier on normal than normal original one.
I don't know. There's moments that I've started playing. Like right now, like I got to a point where, I am on my own right now, and I'm trying to find certain people, and immediately like a bunch of them take off on a car, and she says, "There's a shit ton of these guys," and I don't know. Like it takes patience, obviously. Like you can't
Yeah.
just rush things.
I
So
mean-
there are like a lot of moments you have to wait, or else like when you take someone down,
Uh-huh.
like it takes forever. You're like over here like fucking taking
You
like
gotta-
a year
you gotta,
to take
you
them
gotta
out,
upgrade. You gotta upgrade, dude.
and then. Well, I mean, I don't know if I found like the stealth one yet. I think I might have already found the books. So once you find those books, you're able to upgrade those things.
Mhm.
But it takes forever, and so like there's times where like I get someone, and the guy's like, I'm taking forever, and the guy's like looking around in front of me, and then he turns around, and he's like, oh shit, and I'm like, oh fuck, and
You know-
then that's like the first takedown. So then like everyone that was in this like in this level is now after me. I'm just like, oh fuck, man.
I have to admit there is I'm not gonna spoil it. There is an enemy they introduce which makes it a little difficult. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like fuck.
Is it a human enemy or is it a?
It's a
yeah.
human side. I mean, see, it's gonna go into spoiler, but it's on the human side. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
I'll say that from what I've played, I feel like there's things on both elements.
Yeah. Like
Besides that, later on, like I think as a whole, Jang, you're right that the game is definitely has a lot of more potential for being easier and not as hard. And I'm curious how they changed that with like the harder difficulties in the new game plus.
Oh, it's
like
gonna
if it's
be
just
difficult,
like more life
dude.
less.
I can already
But-
tell it's gonna be hard on
But
the
there's
hardest.
elements like there's certain scenarios that I'm currently going through, and I'm like, I cannot imagine this. on
Yeah.
a brutal or whatever difficult.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like not as a whole experience, but as singular like encounters.
Yeah,
like
those
those
moments,
encounters seem
yeah.
great.
So
Yeah.
in
But
the,
I think
in the
as a whole, yeah.
in the first one, you don't. So in the hardest difficulty, you don't get a lot of supplies and bullets. There's a lot of times where
Right.
I didn't fight. I would just try to make it to the next section. Like fuck it, dude. I just don't have enough ammo, dude, to kill all these
Yeah.
guys. So, yeah. And in the hardest
And-
difficulty, it's gonna be fucking. Thank God.
I do feel like the game gives you opportunities. Like I don't know how it's gonna be on the hardest difficulty when it comes to finding supplies, but like when I was doing the Seattle section or whatever, there's moments where it's like you find a note and then you update your map to say like, oh, this note said there were supplies in this section, so you could literally just go through this whole entire area and try to find supplies. But I don't know how successful, like in the hard difficulties
Well,
that'll be.
in
like,
in the original one, like the safes, they had nothing. Like they would have one bullet.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, fuck. What's the fucking point of opening this safe?
Yeah. Interesting. What do you guys think have what they've done with like the combat and mechanics of everything like that? The upgrades, the combat.
The dodge system makes it easy. Like I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like, cause in the first game, dude, if you got held or caught, sometimes you're fucking dead. You're dead.
You may just get grabbed or whatever.
Yeah, there's moments where it like I know there was that GIF Jang you shared where it's like you move like butter, you move like a boxer, you're just like bobbing and weaving like Muhammad Ali, and I'm like I've had moments where like I'll get like 4 of them success, and then I'll mess up on the 5th dodge and like I'll get hit, but like those first 4 I'm like, man, I'm invincible. But it's definitely, I think the weapon variety becomes more interesting with like the upgrade trees, like where you can learn to craft different things. I think they introduce a lot more weapon variety and just item variety, I should say, as a whole, with when your crafting gets improved. But I don't know, like I don't know if this was I don't remember. It's been so long. I don't remember this being as big of a part of the first game. Were you guys spending a lot of time in the original game just rummaging through every room?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's just, it feels that much more apparent to me in this one because I feel like it's a little bit more open world.
Yeah.
In this
like
one, there's more. There's more
and
fucking.
And with that, it's like I find more just empty places to just rummage through, and I'm like, everyone in like the group. Like, there's a lot of times where you're with one or two other people, and they're like trying to emphasize that you need to, like, time is of the essence. And I don't remember that as much in the first one, except for like some key moments where it's like a chase sequence. This one, like, every time that happens, I feel very noticeably like we'll get to it eventually. Like, give me like a day of just rummaging this whole area before. And you're like, we have an hour, and I'm like, what?
Oh,
I don't know. It feels counter to the narrative.
There is a part, I don't know if Vargas went through it. I mean, trying to be as vague as possible. They put Uncharted into The Last of Us, and I fucking love that part. I was like, this fucking part is so sick, dude.
I know which part you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, this part is so good.
What day were you on, Vargas?
I'm on, so I just got to day 2, so I haven't...
Okay, you haven't got to it yet.
Yeah.
But, oh, so he hasn't seen the human side enemy.
No.
Oh, shit.
At least the one
you're gonna hate it, dude.
I
feel like it's gonna be a Modern Warfare Juggernaut type stuff.
I mean, I mean, try not to be spoiler. It's an enemy that I hate in all video games. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
I definitely feel like I've had more scares in this game than I have in prior games.
Dude, yes.
I mean, so far I haven't gotten to anything like that yet.
The only problem is the jump scares are very cheap. There's only 2 of them that got me. Like, I did not expect it, and I was like, wow, it's pretty fucking.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you that those are sort of what I'm talking about. But part of it is like, I don't. Again, this is just I'm going with like an old memory. I didn't play the original Last of Us in a long time, but the way that the music builds, like, even just those first 2 hours, building up to the moments that like you're faced with in those early moments. I don't want to say exactly what, but every time you're building to a moment like that in the game, it just like amplifies it's like pulsating music that like feels like it's just like, I don't know. I'm wearing headphones most of the time.
Yeah, me too.
Just, like,
that's why I think that's why it's scaring me.
And
if I wasn't wearing headphones, it wouldn't scare me as bad, for sure.
And I'm not wearing headphones.
But like it gets atmospheric, and it's great. But at the same time, it gets me on the edge of my seat a lot of those times, even if it doesn't like have a big like reveal or shock or something, I'll just be like, fuck, I was tense for the last like 30 minutes because it feels like you're building to it.
I haven't I've died once in the game, but it was such a shitty ass. So I was at a point where like there's tripwires, like there's a shit ton of them. And no. So they're like, some of them were pretty difficult to see, but I had gotten on top of a truck, and to me it looked so obvious. I was like, oh, there's another truck on the other end. I just have to run and jump to the other truck. You can't make that jump. And when I landed, she like rolls into a fucking tripwire, and I blow the fuck up. And so when it starts again, when you're able to continue, you continue like in between both trucks. And like it has a prompt for you to like open something up. I was like, oh my fucking god! But like I jumped, didn't make the jump, and she just rolls into a tripwire. And I'm like, oh fuck. So that's the only one. But I've been introduced to a new infected.
Shambler.
And it's the only reason why I find that annoying, and I think will be tough like when you play like the higher difficulty games, is you can't take them out like you can other infected.
Like sneak up on.
Yeah, you can't sneak up on them or anything like that. So like it's something that you have to just sneak around, or obviously if you have to do something like within a stage that requires you to make noise or something, you'd have to take care of it.
Yeah. And I kind of want to, as unspoilerly as possible, just start, and this is again early impressions. What do you think of how the story is unfolding?
So for me so far, dude, it's fantastic. I love that they have like the double narrative so far, or at least that's like the beginning part that it showed. I fucking called what was gonna happen, and I hate it. Like I hate it so much. Like I knew what was happening. Like I knew like when you're playing like this other narrative, where it's going. But dude, like so there's also a point where like just before you get to day 2, the transition to that point, Ellie falls asleep and she dreams. She has a kind of a dream, and she dreams about a kind of a wish or a dream that she has, which is to be like an astronaut essentially. And so she's dreaming at that moment, and like she's getting help by someone. And bro, I was fucking crying. I was letting like the tears go down my face, dude. I was just like, dude, this is so amazing. Like, I think the thing is too is like, we've all kind of played the previous game, so we know the journey that they've already had up to that point. Like, even like the moment it's showing is technically after what like the first game happened, so you know everything that's happened to them so far. For her to like be able to like enjoy this moment, I was like, holy fuck, man, I'm so into this story right now.
The whole Joel and Ellie dynamic. Like that dynamic is so good.
And it's like it's added on to the fact that like if you've seen the first one, Joel loses his kid, and I think he like takes Ellie under his wing as if like, hey, this is the kid that I've lost, and I need to take care of this person.
That's why he saved her at the end of the first one.
Yeah, exactly. And like I know the story's gonna lead to a point where like Ellie realizes the things that have happened, because you're told, like Joel told her like, hey, like they were gonna do this to you. And I think that point gets probably changed, and I don't know what happens from that moment, but like so far I'm loving like the way the story works, and it's insane. It's like playing a book, it's so crazy. The only problem is this book is fucking brutal as hell.
So I think the crazy moment happened too soon. That's just me. And it seems like when I look at my YouTube comments, people are upset about the game. Two things, right? The ending and the crazy moment. So I'm like, damn.
I want to get into the social discourse, like after the cover. But so that was one aspect of it. What else do you think of? Jane, you played more than Vargas of the story. How's your take on how things are unfolding? Like, is it enjoyable? Is it still grabbing you this far into the game?
I like it. I'm just not interested in it because of a gameplay thing that they did, which I can't talk about, but it happens at the halfway point. and
Yeah.
it's more of a gameplay thing, not the story thing. So, not a story
Okay.
reason. I can't really talk
Swimming.
about it.
Yeah,
But
they introduced him.
I mean, when you get to the water level, Vargas, it's
I mean,
Yeah.
they've already like they did a good job, but like in the dream, like that I was explaining about what she like dreams. They essentially also introduced you to the swimming aspect of the game,
Right.
which I thought was really funny.
but yeah, people should
just,
not.
just make sure you don't go down McStabbies.
I am McStabbies too. But the people who don't like the game because of that crazy moment, I feel like, dude, like they haven't played the game. They're just judging it by a spoiler,
Right.
out of context spoiler, and yeah, I don't know. Like, don't judge it by an out of context spoiler. You got to
Yeah.
play the game, and but
If
I
you
feel
guys
like
want,
I feel like the
I-
crazy moment happened too soon, though. Just my
If-
opinion.
If you guys want at this point, I'm down to talk about spoilers. Like, I'm still gonna enjoy the shit out of this game, dude, because it's just so well done. So,
Wait.
Regardless.
What?
Hmm?
So okay, we can talk about, I guess, that first moment. Like, I want to just say spoilers at this point for anyone listening. We'll talk a little bit. I'll try to mark this.
yeah,
this time.
we'll mark where it starts and where it ends, so you can continue after if you want.
Well, I think just from this point till the end of this topic will be
Right,
like,
but they won't know when the
public
topic ends. So what?
right. I'll put when the next topic.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So yeah, the golf master.
Yeah.
Golf story
The fucking
too.
teeing off and shit, dude.
Yeah, that that was
I
very.
saw it. I
think
saw it
what-
coming, dude. When you played as this other chick, and they were like, we need to find him, or like that person. I was like, I know who the fuck they're talking about, and I probably can assume exactly why they're after this person. And sure enough, like when it gets to the end of her first gameplay where she finds traction, she's like, "Where's the outlook?" Then it transitions you over to Ellie. I was like, dude, at some moment it's gonna transition over again to her meeting up with fucking Joel, and
Damn.
I don't know where to go from there, but I know how it's gonna end. Like, it's gonna end not good for the guys that we enjoy in the story, which is Joel and the other guy.
The part that just threw me was that the people that saved her from near death were them, Joel and
Yeah.
Tommy, and how that interweaved into like her just being like, they fell right into my hands, and this is like, oh shit, and then how quickly they turn. It kind of just makes you dislike them. Like you get put into Ellie's
Yeah, the moment
shoes
that
much easier. Like, you're like, fuck these people.
Yeah, the
you don't
moment
know what
that-
like Ellie doesn't know what you know, that
Yeah.
they helped them,
exactly.
and I feel like you get that added fuel that Ellie would already have because she's just that connected.
Yeah, the moment like that Ellie is down and she's like being detained or whatever.
Right.
I was like, I don't even care about these people anymore. I'm gonna, because you know how like they like people they've explained, like when you kill someone and they see someone, they're like, oh my god, this person's name Matt, what happened? You know, like because they find like their dead friend. But like the moment that this moment happened, I was like, fuck these guys, I'm gonna torture the shit out of them playing this game.
Fuck.
Like, that was my
Damn,
first
Wild
thought. But the
Vargas.
thing is, like, as I continue playing the game, like you realize like there's more to the story. Like there's a side to them. You know, like you're gonna realize. I'm sure, I don't know if the game's gonna explore it, but I'm assuming like they have their ideology, which is why they went through with what they did. Like they saw something happen, they were like, this is not fair. Like he took whatever.
Sure.
His actions caused consequences, and now they're mad, and like they've held this grudge for this whole time.
Right.
Personally, I mean, this is going into spoilers. I think that group is dumb for letting Tommy and Ellie go. Like, because they're just gonna come back. Like, it's just like.
I think
And-
that. I think yes. I think.
You could spoil it. Like you can go
Well, no,
further
no.
than I'm at. I don't even mind.
Well, there's stuff I don't want. Like, I really want your genuine reaction to some of the things that Jang is aware of that I want. Like, you're not yet, but I will say, I think some of that is better contextualized.
Yeah.
Of, like, why she was able to, like, at the beginning of the game, you see that other guy arguing with her, like helping her but arguing with her. That was like pointing out where the town was and everything. and you see them still sort of like being reluctant and hesitant, and why she's still like pushes forward, that one
Right.
girl. Um,
Abby.
yeah, Abby, and that was like, I feel like the distance between her and some of the other ones, not all of them, because there was like one guy who was ready to do it, and another,
Yeah.
and it was like
I mean,
discourse.
I've already gotten to a point where
But-
like there I have what is her name? Dane or Diane or something?
Dina?
Dina. She's like already like she's fixed this radio and she's kind of figured out like different vocabulary that the wolf
Oh, the
have or the
codes.
WLF. Yeah, the codes. And she shows a picture of the one guy who was hesitant in the beginning, and he's like, this guy has gone AWOL from this group, and so you can already tell like this guy has second thoughts, and he's still having second thoughts, and he's kind of like left already.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
How many spoilers do you guys know before going into the game?
None.
I know. Well, it's one that's bundled.
Okay.
So you haven't gotten through it yet?
I mean, I've gone through one of them. I
Okay.
guess I don't know.
So that's more than one.
Well,
So-
it's only one, but I don't know how to.
So I
explain
knew
it. don't remember.
I knew the Joel one, and
Okay.
and then people kept on saying golf story, golf simulator, golf story. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And then I know another one I won't say, but I know another one.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten.
Have you experienced that other one?
No. The second one is probably at the end.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I haven't had anything spoiled. I think a day, like the weekend, I was starting to play. Like I only played the very beginning during the weekend, and I was listening to podcasts just because people that had played it, journalists mostly, could vaguely talk about it because they like the embargoes they had were pretty much they couldn't talk about anything beyond the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, we can't talk about really any of the narrative or whatever. So they felt very tied, but they were talking about like their feelings, and like they were beating around the bush like, this is a revenge story for Ellie. So think about that. And I was like, I mean, yeah, it's very heavy-handed. It was of like the whole with the golf stuff in the beginning and Joel.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like regardless of knowing whether or not he makes it or not, like they could have, like for all I know, like if someone said like something bad happens to Joel at the very beginning, or she's getting revenge for Joel, they could have been like they like cripple Joel at the beginning and she's getting revenge, or
Right.
they like do something, they torture him and like they change him completely, or like it could have been any number of things, because I feel like the writing team for this don't go for like, they go for some predictable things, but like I mean the first Last of Us I think is a testament to them doing stuff that people weren't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Not just with the main story, but with a lot of those side stories, like that one that you guys were talking about with the first one. Was it like the rat?
Yeah, the
King or
ramen.
whatever?
Dude,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's one of the biggest things too. Is these stories, these secondary narratives that are told through the writing, through like
The
through the
letters.
notes that you find. Yeah, like yeah, and the
Finding-
first one, that rat man. So what happens is you go through like this whole sewer system, and you're finding notes where like this guy had barricaded himself by himself in the sewer system, and then at some point a family comes through and they're like, please let us in, like, you know, we need to like we want to take care of our family, and he allows them to come in. And so then the story starts going where it's this rat man with this family, and they're having a great time, and then like things start heading south. Like the husband gets like infected,
Right.
but he doesn't tell anyone, and so all this stuff happens, and like literally like you find a room with like dead bodies, and you realize like this is either the husband and the two kids, or the mom and the two kids. And Ratman, like, he leaves. He's like, I had to do it. Like, they were all infected. And he, like, and then when you escape through the sewer system, you see a last note, like, saying, like, I'm going to go out here. And then, like, you open it up, and you're like, you're in a neighborhood, essentially. And you're like, holy fuck, this is insane. You just, like, you went through this whole narrative by going through this tunnel. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
The second one does a lot of those. Like, there's, if you really like, that's part of the incentive for me of like going through like looting and stuff, is finding all these notes, because you get a lot of different perspectives. Like, it's not just one person writing several. You'll see like in like you'll be in a neighborhood, like a
Yeah.
four-way cross of all these shops, and each each store there's like a note in there, and it's each person giving a perspective of like this one character that was like in this town apparently.
Mhm.
They're like, oh dude, I feel like after what happened to Nick, he's not going to be the same. And then like someone else is like, dude, fuck that guy Nick. And like they write a bunch of stuff like he's giving me
Yeah.
shady looks all the time. And then another person's like, dude, we need to leave. I think Nick is gonna like something. And then the fourth one's by Nick, and it's like it shows the room slaughtered. He's like, I did all these things, and like, and then you see his reasoning and all this stuff. It's like, whoa. And you get this context for like this history of what happened
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
I don't know if it goes into as much depth with what
As the Rat Man.
yeah, but there are a few that do. Like it isn't a lot of them, but there's a handful that like, either you have a larger narrative or they're very recent, and like you might run into some of them or something like that. Like
Yeah.
along those veins of like, whoa, like this isn't just like something I'm reading from a long time ago. It's like
If
it had an impact on where I am right now or what's going on or whatever.
I remember the first one, like it had like notes sporadically like tossed around, but the sewer system has like the most fluid like timeline sense of notes that you can read and kind of follow the story. But there is like there was one like so I had gotten into a safe spot that's the theater, and you read a note saying like this guy's like he's like I'm sick, I have the flu. He's like I don't have any scratches or anything, so I don't think I'm infected. He's like the group has decided to go raid a medical area for me tomorrow, and then like the note leads to going like they're taking too long, and then you find another note saying like this is too long, and he scratches it out. He's like they're not coming back. They more than likely think I'm infected and they've left me. He's like I'm able to continue raiding for food, so I'm perfectly fine. He like keeps describing like moments that he needs to do. And then like you get to the point where like there's a radio, and this is a radio that he keeps talking about where he's trying to like listen to see if anyone's out there.
Yeah.
And you have to power it on. So when you go to power it on, you fucking see this guy fucking dead. He fried himself. You know, like, and you're like, oh my fucking god, that fucking sucks, dude. You're like, you know the history behind this fucking body at this point. And like those moments are really, really cool.
Yeah. They add it's like a richness to it, like the world.
Yeah, dude, like it's not just a body there anymore, you know, like now there's a history. This guy was fucking like left abandoned by his group because they thought he was gonna be infected, you know, and he's like doing everything he can to survive, and he ends up fucking dying because he doesn't know how to work electricity, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to go further than that, I'd be like, well, I guess you guys can hold off on certain things, but well, like that enemy. What's that enemy that you guys were talking about? The human one. Is it a sniper?
That's a boosh boy.
Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
The only thing I can think of is a guy that has a shit ton of armor and it takes fucking forever to kill, if not
Nani?
even possible to kill. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's
Like
a guy-
that'd be the
it's a-
most
okay,
fucking
I'm
annoying
gonna
thing is
tell
a
you
guy
it.
that you can't take down
No, no.
immediately
It's a
and
guy-
takes like 10 years to kill.
Let me tell you, it's a guy with his shirt off and running towards you, like.
It's
Whoosh,
fucking
whoosh.
psychopath or whatever.
Yeah.
Does he have like? Is he like fucking like kamikaze type shit? Where he has like a bomb or whatever and he runs at you?
You'll have to find out, dude.
I will say, I don't know. There's some that Jang hasn't faced, and I'm like, man. Whenever you do stream like your hard difficulty run, I'm like, I want to see how you.
Damn. So I'd assumed there was more types of bad guys because I was like, that's it. There's only like one for each side. Oh, actually, there's another one. I don't think Vargas has seen on the infected side.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's two more, dude. There's like 3 new. So far, I've seen 3 new infected.
It isn't like I feel like the
Okay, wait.
discourse of the oh god.
Okay, without spoiling it, there's an new infected. The scene, didn't it remind you of Dead Space 2?
Yes. 100%.
He's like can't be killed, dude. He just fucking break off his legs and he's still
There's so many moments of like the more violent this game gets, the more I think of Dead Space 2 in a lot of ways, or Dead Space in general in a lot of ways, just because of how like whenever a villain or an enemy type got introduced in Dead Space, it was like in your face,
Yes.
like, and I like this reminds me a lot of that. You know, maybe it has a lot of same developers or something, but
so like it was like a jump scare essentially, like the guy.
well, like it's either that or like your camera will pan.
Yes.
Like there was one where I faced where it was like you're in the dark and you got these stupid lights, and like there's a lot of times where I can't see shit even with the light. It is so frustrating. I'm like,
Put up your
I can't tell whether I'm up or down, or but there are moments where you just your light will go into a certain direction and it kind of focuses in on something, and you're like, oh shit, and it's like really it's much closer than you would feel comfortable with.
I mean, with,
like
like,
the
the-
dude
So you have
without
a-
a shirt, right? Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
with the introduction of the Shambler, like it shows like these two guys yelling like I got you, and like as you're crawling through the grate system,
Yeah.
it shows them both like kind of fall on the floor, and this guy just runs up to them and just like explodes into spores or whatever, and ends up killing those two guys. But that moment was like there wasn't like I mean obviously like the camera is pointing down, which normally you'd have it pointing up.
That one you kind of get a sense of like something is ahead and you hear something, and that's a different way of freaking you out because you're like, oh shit, what is this? Because of the damage it left behind.
Yeah, this
The
one
one-
you yeah, I don't want to see you
Yeah.
you see it.
And then I don't know. What's interesting to me is the discourse of this game is like there was a lot of reviews that came in and they're all just like hailing it, masterpiece, 10 out of 10, this, that, the other. And then the leaks and then the user reviews are just shitting on it. And it's like, it makes it. I don't know how you guys are responding to it, or like if you feel like it has had any impact on you. But to me, all it has done is heighten my curiosity. Like everything, every story beat, every combat, every whatever, I'm like paying more attention to. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. A lot of the people that were reviewing it, there were a couple that were like, it was too violent. Like for them, they felt like it was just excessively violent. And like I was expecting, like in my head, I'm expecting something way worse. And like I'm playing it, I'm like, I guess like I could like, and I heard one case where I'm like, that would definitely make me feel that way. And it was, they kept dying. Like they were playing on one of the harder difficulties, and they just kept dying. And like they would redo certain encounters, and they would just be violent in those encounters. So I feel like then you would feel like there's a lot of violence, but given the context of why Ellie is going through this mission and everything, I just was in like Terminator mode.
Right.
I was like, she's gonna just become X-23 in all senses of the word.
I don't
just
know.
like, I don't know.
Have you seen that video of that Korean streamer and then he just breaks his disc in half?
Yeah, I saw you do it on
So
stream.
after the ending, like that makes me want to like I want to see the ending. Like
Yeah,
why,
I'm very curious.
like why are people shitting on it? Like
That's what I'm worried about. Like Last of Us, the first one, it did a fantastic job. Like the ending, I mean, the ending can be interpreted in many different ways, but like for me, it was like it wasn't bad. You know, like it was a really good ending to a really good story. But like we've seen like Game of Thrones, dude, where the build up, like the fucking
Oh my
everything
God.
is fantastic, and it literally just gets shattered. Like everything that has happened up to that moment like doesn't even fucking matter anymore
I don't know.
because of how
But
bad.
for me,
it
it's
is.
different because Game of Thrones, the last 3 seasons were bad. It wasn't just the ending.
Yeah, but
Like-
it wasn't like I mean it was a downfall, but like the last season,
Like-
the last few
like-
epists were just like so fucking.
For
bad.
example, like
it's not even.
Sopranos, right? Has a bad. I think it's a bad ending.
Mm-hmm.
The middle is fucking worth. I haven't even finished it. I'm just judging it from the first 3 seasons. I'd still say watch it. It's even though the ending's bad, the fucking beginning middle is so good. Like I don't
The
care.
part that like makes me not compare it to that as much as you, Vargas, is what you're saying, is that felt like it was pretty unanimous, like across all people, like critics, fans, longtime
just
fans,
bad.
new fans, TV fans, book fans, just everyone's just like, what the fuck? I feel like this one, there's a healthy amount of people that are like, this is really impressive. This is genuinely, and like, for some people to still be turned off by an ending, I'm curious what they were like. I feel like they were attached to specific elements, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's some things that Jang and I are aware of that I think you haven't seen yet that might play a part into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm guessing, but I'm still like unsure even of that playing that much of a factor.
I have a guess of the
I-
ending.
I
think-
only assume like face value from where I'm at so far is like people are angry because they don't get the revenge that they want to see. Like,
Mm,
because like you're like people are saying like this is a revenge story, but like like I'm assuming what happens is you don't get the revenge in a sense of like you don't get to see the person that you're meant to like disembowel,
sure.
or it happens before you get to do it, or like you end up like not being able to do it, and on top of that like you see that person succeed maybe, like like
I
it's
see.
just like I would assume people are angry because like you as the character that you're playing, you don't see um what is it like the reward for you getting up to this moment or whatever. You
Sure.
don't get to see what you wanted to do this whole time,
I,
It
th-
feels very much to me. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
I think I can guess what happens at the end. The only thing I can think of that I'm not gonna say it, but I think something happens, and that's the only thing I could think of. That's why people are pissed. And
I feel like so far for me, it's been less about what the final, like where I'm, what I'm striving for. Like Ellie's objective is revenge, but for me, the interesting part has been the journey. Like what, like in those first day, like what you're saying, Vargas, like the first day or two, is just where it's taking her and what she's remembering in contrast to that, and
Yeah.
like these, like contrasting the present and the past, and what we know and what she doesn't know or knows or whatever, and all these things. It's like that, like what that does to a person makes me feel very like interested in what's going on. Like I think that's what's the hook for me.
Yeah.
And like how it could hinder or help. Like she started this relationship with Dina. It's like, does that work out? Like, does she find happiness? Does it not work out for who knows why? And are there other people, like she's a part of this society? Tommy, is a part of that society. When I didn't notice initially, I don't know if it was telegraphed or not, but when right before you set off that person in charge of the town is with Tommy,
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, so it's like there's more tie. Like Tommy, your tie to Tommy isn't just Joel.
Yeah.
It's also
I think
he's a part of this society too.
it was very loose in knowing that,
Yeah.
and then there's the point where like when you find out like he's gone off on his own, can you please bring my husband back? It's kind
Yeah.
of like it's I think that's like the actual reveal for it's a hard hitting like holy fuck, like she really cares about this person because it's obviously her significant other.
I mean,
Yeah.
the same thing happened in the first one. She was like, "Please bring back, bring back my husband in the first place."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely want to have another conversation when we've all beaten it.
Yeah. I'll
Whenever
I'll
that
try
is.
to
I don't know if I can beat it next Thursday.
No. There's. I feel like I just wanted to get an initial impression. I don't like whenever we have all beaten it, whatever that is, we can talk about it.
next week. Don't worry.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, maybe next week. I think I might be able to, because I'm in the halfway point, and it's like a 30-hour game. I think so.
Yeah. I'll say.
I'm
day one-
surprised that it's that long. I honestly thought it was gonna be 15 hours.
Yeah. I definitely, there's element, like I'm thinking about this game, and I think another reason I was saying about the violence that people were talking about was the length of the game playing a factor. It's just like you're doing it for that much longer, all the really insane detailed violence. I think I'm like constantly thinking about like could they have done without this? Could this have been shorter? This seems kind of drawn out. Like
One
looking
thing.
back at the parts. So Vargas is on day 2 and he's done day 1. Day 1 felt like forever. Like leading up to day 1, all that stuff. Just in hindsight, like that part felt so like.
In hindsight, yeah, because like I played like the whole point, and all of a sudden like you're like it's day 2. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? It's only been one day. Holy shit! But I realized like there is a moment where you walk into like the Seattle area. So from that moment, finishing day 1, it wasn't very long. It wasn't actually a lot of content, but like everything preceding that doesn't feel like it's own thing, so then it does feel like it's part of like day 1, so you're like holy shit, that was a lot.
There's one thing I don't like about the game. and it's the same problem from the first one. They have this
Chapters.
formula where it's human, okay, now infected, fight. Okay, now it's human, infected, human, and it switches back and forth. Like, it's like I know that after a human fight, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fight an infected next. Like, that's the one thing, one major gripe. And I feel like the enemy placement, level design isn't as tight as the first one.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the reason why is, I mean, humans are obviously, like, in the context of the game, they don't want to be near infected. So whenever you're going to fight humans, they're far away or they're safe away from infected. And then the narrative kind of leads you through, like, an infected area, like you as the character. So you have to fight through that area. But, like, I had just gotten to a point where, like, I think it was the TV tower. I don't know where it was, but I have to fight all these humans, and then I have to escape. And when I escape through like underground, where it ends up being all infected. But at the same time, there is like a small splash of human interaction in there. That
Was it the red light? The red light room?
Yeah, the red light area.
Yeah, I threw a brick and I watched chaos.
I actually
Popcorn?
I stealth killed everything in that one.
I put them, like there was like
knew-
3 left.
I knew there was like there was at least one infected, and I was like, dude, I could probably throw something and cause like chaos, but like as soon as I was about to do it, like an opportunity came to kill one of them, and then it just kind of like flowed, and I was able to like kill every single
Wild
one.
Vegas is back.
Yeah.
Whoosh,
It
whoosh.
just, well, once you take one out, like it breaks it doesn't break their pattern, but like it leaves like an open area where you can kind of sneak around, and then you kill that one, you lose an open area, and you kind of sneak around. So once you're able to break that pattern, but in the beginning I was like, fuck, dude, like literally like they all of them turn around to see each other at some point. I'm like, I can't fucking take these guys out. And at some
For
point I
me,
ended up
like right now, the way in those same instances, the way I feel she probably like I'm trying to make my play my character the way I think she would be feeling,
right.
and it's just like drowning herself in rage and anger, and so I'm avoiding doing like super quiet, stealthy, or avoiding.
Gotcha.
I'm literally like I'll wait, like I'll be sneaky. So for instance, an example of that is instead of hiding behind a corner and then like grabbing someone and slowly taking out the human, like I'll do that with the zombies, for
Kuro
instance.
shoots a gun in the air in the beginning.
No.
Wow.
With the human, I'll often like have my melee item like weaponized even more,
Yeah.
and like I'll hide behind that corner, and right when they're within like hitting range, I'll burst out and just swipe once. It's like they have a look of terror, and I'm like, I think she's like that's what she's leaning into, so I'm just gonna lean hard into that.
Yeah.
And some of the weapons you can weaponize. Like there's a few you get earlier on, and there's a few more you can get later on. And I'm like,
I've gotten the iron
this.
bar with
She's become like the Martha Stewart of like murder.
You can kill them with this item or with this item.
Mixed
Seriously, like the
McStabby's is
amount of
back.
equipment shit like you can get. Like I remember seeing Joel with that. I'm like, okay, he's like a large man.
Yeah.
She's got like like two guns, 4 guns, 8
Also-
this, 2 that.
Dude, no more
Mary Poppins over here.
no more shivs. Unlimited knife, the best.
It's like scissors, isn't it? Or, I don't know.
Oh, keep playing. But yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it whenever we've all been. We'll do like a full spoiler cast.
Next week.
I'm excited. But next topic.
So we're at an hour and 13 minutes in case you want to write that down for when we get to the topic. Or when the new topic begins.
Sure.
But the next one is James, right?
Yes, it's a heavy one. So there's just been a shit ton of allegations of just abuse, sexual abuse, harassment. So I'm just open topic. What do you guys think of cancel culture?
I think it's a heavy bag because it's like part of it is that culture, but I think like when I think of, I don't know what you guys think of when you hear that phrase. When I think of that phrase, I think of not so much the type of allegations we've seen now, but more so like this person said this thing, like it's like what like people said like on Twitter 8 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, and then they're like bringing it up now, like the what's it called? That one comedian,
Chris D'Elia?
Kevin Hart.
Oh.
No. Kevin Hart is the one I was thinking of. When
Mhm.
Kevin Hart was like 10 years ago, he said something, or like James Gunn said something, and he had already said addressed it, and people are bringing it up now to like get them to like be fired. Like that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, I associate that with cancel culture.
But like I do think that like this stuff like ends up like the Chris Hardwick thing happened where there was an allegation and then the studios cut ties with him. But I think that because the reasons for what they're being like canceled or cut ties with or removed or whatever matters in this case, because these things are regarding another sort of movement, and a lot of them is with like the Me Too stuff, a lot of sexual allegations of different sorts, and like I've read a few of them, and it's like this isn't the first time those people have tried bringing it up. It's like they've tried, and the people just like drown them out, or they don't have a voice, and it's like now with like this large grouping, you just start seeing more people like taking it seriously.
I do have to say with what's going on right now within the gaming industry with all the
It's not just gaming too. I found out it was like
Yeah.
the state. Chris D'Elia, Jang
like
mentioned there was.
Yeah.
I even found out
Comedians
comedians,
comic books, yeah.
with all this about like the sexual harassment and all this stuff. I don't associate it with cancel culture. I think this is its own thing. I think it's something that obviously we have to bring to light. Like one of the thing is one of the head guys from like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
Is another one. Yeah, the creative director or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to like I don't know exactly, so I don't want to like just associate someone and then screw them over. But they're stepping down because there's allegations, and then I just heard like there's allegations, and then like I saw like straight up like texts of this guy going like, no, I'm not married. And this girl's like, I went out with, I virtually or digitally went out with this guy, and then found out that no, he was married. He does have 2 kids or whatever. And I was like, holy shit, this guy, this guy was like having like a side person on the, digitally, on top of having like his wife and kids and stuff like that. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think.
But yeah, I don't associate like the cancel culture with this. Like, for me, yeah, cancel culture is like what you were talking about, where they break things up like from like way long ago that have more than likely already been addressed and stuff like that. But with this, like, this is something separate, and I think that this is obviously something that we have to like that has to be talked about and has to be like brought up and stuff and taken care of.
It is scary though. It's like because a lot of it doesn't like I know some people have like played devil's advocate and like been put on the spot as a result of it. I think Summit 1G was one of those guys. Did you guys see?
I didn't.
You mean a long time ago or recently?
No.
No.
Like I found it and I saved it because I was like, I'm gonna save this because I just want to see the responses to it.
I did see a tweet where he talked about where
it was,
on the internet you're guilty until
Oh,
proven.
okay, yeah, I saw
innocent
that.
until proven guilty, unless it's the internet where we do things backwards. And
Yeah.
literally, like, just so many people just came in like white privilege. Like it became a mix of so many different things, like male white privilege, all this stuff. But like, it's. I feel like that's an after. I feel like it's not as. I don't know how to say this, but it's like because of all this past harms that have been done and like have been dismissed and treated unfairly and poorly. Like it's created, like he's saying, like from his perspective, he's like, I feel a danger because literally they don't need evidence to allegate something, and then all like, well, because so many people have either been complacent about that sort of behavior in the past, or not like stood up or spoken up, and it's like now you're getting some like this isn't just affecting the people that were immediately impacted. This is going to cause a problem for everyone because this is a reaction to what was the case, and people were either complacent with it, they were encouraging it, they were a part of it or whatever, and it's like I feel like everyone like it's become like, along with like the Black Lives Matter thing, very much so the heightened sense of like being complacent and being like a bias, like you should there's been an added reasoning for like emphasis on being vocal or taking some sort of support or like not just being like, oh, that's your problem. It's like it's going to impact all of us as a society if this doesn't get handled in some way, shape, or form now.
Yeah.
And that's been like the impact it's had for some of these other ones too. So I don't know.
I feel like I feel like there's some people that can't be canceled.
That's the scary part.
Like,
some
I'm
people-
gonna say a name.
Okay.
J.K. Rowling. Like, I feel like I don't know. Her books are so well beloved. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
but I think she's already like. I don't know if she could get another book out there, and that's I think like what. I think that's at least what people are trying to do, like, because obviously she's very, I think what she's transphobic, was it? Like she's
Yeah. I
again,
mean that's what like a lot of what she's shown and done is very transphobic. But I do think like there's a point to Jang's point like thing of like what the amount of people that she's upset versus the amount of people that have purchased or continue to buy her stuff. Like she's still profitable.
Like, okay, if she made if she made another Harry Potter, dude, you know how many people are gonna fucking buy that shit? Like a new book?
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. I think it gets to a point where you're just like these things are gonna happen or go a certain way, and it's like whether you feel comfortable or not. Like I know some people, for instance, and this is kind of like going further down the side of like supporting or not supporting because of personal belief, but like because of political stances, they'll look at like what restaurants are supporting those political people, and they'll be like, I am or am not going to those places.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, that place is still going to make a ton of money because they are what they are, like
if
whatever
not
franchise
even
they
more,
are.
because like their name is getting out.
Yeah, and
just get an air fryer. Yeah.
or do that, yeah. But like it's like that ownership of like this is my role in that,
Yeah.
and I like whether you're comfortable
I mean,
or whether you feel like
One of them
makes-
is what is it, the like Chick-fil-A specifically for me. It's not a place that I go to, but I've gone there before, and the problem is I've had excellent fucking service.
Oh yeah,
Like it was like breakfast, and I was like, it was at a time that I was trying to like eat healthy, so everything for their breakfast is a deep fried chicken, like it's deep fried chicken or fried chicken, and I'm like, that's like not healthy. I'd like a grilled chicken. So then I simply asked, I was like, hey, do you guys offer anything that's grilled? They're like, no, in the morning we don't do anything grilled, but if you'd like to, I could make you a grilled chicken breakfast sandwich. And I'm like, sure. And they made me a grilled chicken
I
sandwich.
think they
like,
used the air fryer for that. Like,
either way, like they went out of their way, and I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. And I've only ever had like great service from them, you know.
Yeah.
And I've only gone like a handful of times. I've gone like 4 or 5 fucking times to their establishment. And yet, like the owners or like the the people that like have created, are known for being like transphobic and homophobic, I believe, and all this stuff. And so like I kind of still go out of my way not to go there, but there are times where like I'll crave a fucking chicken sandwich, and they have amazing chicken sandwiches or like chicken.
Well, like when I go down that we're going on a tangent of a tangent, but like when I go down that rabbit hole, I started looking up like major companies that support blank, and if you honestly look at how many things that you do use regularly, like it becomes exhausting, like where you would have to like where do you draw the line?
yeah.
But anyway, so going back to what you were saying about the cancel thing, there was something I was gonna say. Shit. I brain farted. If anyone else has a thought, go ahead.
It's tough though. Like I mean, there's not tough, but like there is a lot going on. Like there's a lot to take in. And like obviously it's like every person has their own ideology and stuff like that, but like yeah, like when someone says like, hey, here's a list of like businesses that like are for this certain person or are against these certain views, like just obviously it's on your own, but try not to go to these places, and you realize you're like, that's fucking everything I do. Like I go here, I go there, I buy stuff from that place, I get a specific brand. You're like, holy shit, like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. What I was gonna say, I just remembered, was regarding the aspect of like people bringing back old things and like and they're not things like, I'm not saying like these are illegal, these are crimes or anything. These are just like something someone said that was like either insensitive or whatever, and it was 10, 15 years ago, and like that being brought up now and being like, this is unacceptable. Like we cannot stand for this. And like I feel like because of that culture, like you just get heightened. You have a heightened sense of like everything, and you're just like everything is an issue. So like the people that go into it and like become up like embrace that sort of culture mentality, just now are like nothing is acceptable, nothing is okay. I don't care if it happens. If I'm like like everything just I feel like it's become stressful for yourself and everyone, and just like when you become that outraged or upset about everything, then I feel like it desensitizes you to the things that are like genuinely impactful to you. Like if someone hears you, it's like you're crying wolf. And I'm worried like that becomes a thing where it's just like everyone's upset about everything because everything's an issue of something someone said 15 years ago. But then you're like, oh shit, this is happening right now, and it's horrible. This is a crime. It's like, man, you've been saying that about everything. Like people might start being dismissive.
We'll start getting like the opposite. We'll go the opposite direction and start getting desensitized to like all.
Yeah, you just become you've said this 100
Yeah.
times. I don't have the energy to give you that much of like give you 110 on everything. And so I don't know. Like I think that just like when you're on Twitter and you see so much, you're like, oh man, get out. Like I'm over this. Like
Hashtag every day, dude.
Yeah, like what matters, what doesn't matter. Like there are things that do matter, and they're worth like what's going on with like all these different things. Like Twitch should crack down on those like things, or the Hollywood studios, or the different all these things. Like when it becomes like a genuine like scare, or like people are coming out speaking bravely and everything. I think there's things to be like done, and those are things. But then you have other things where it's like, what was said?
It's crazy too because
why does that
like,
matter now?
Like even like guilt by association, you know, like
Yeah.
Roche could say something, and then it could like drag me down, because we have a podcast together.
Yeah, people will be like, Jang, you didn't stop him. Why didn't you say anything? And people are like, man, he's complacent in this. I saw Trihex, like someone saying to him, like, oh, everyone's talking about this movement. I noticed you've been silent. To fuck you. I'm like, what? It's like it makes me think like everyone turns into Joe Pesci.
I mean, Dave Chappelle said it best, right, about the Black Lives Matter. Like, why aren't you saying something, you know? His response was good, yeah, so.
Yeah, his video, the 8 minutes, 47 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really...
I honestly haven't seen it. Is there...
You should watch it. It's like 20, 30 minutes.
Break it down to just 2 words or something.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's
it's
serious.
complicated. Yeah, it's not funny, and he like at one point he's like, "You guys thought this would be funny, huh? Sorry."
I could say a couple dick jokes.
I do think that there are like when it comes to like specific comedy, there's been like a lot of like, oh, you should like keep this out of comedy. You should keep this out of comedy. I think when it comes to comedy stuff like that, like it should be an open field. But when it comes to like with like Chris and there's these allegations, like that's a serious matter, you know? Like
yeah, that is. Did you see, by the way? Have you seen the video of him like live? Like he's in like a podcast.
Yeah, they're talking about the Snapchat or whatever. And he's like, wait, you get saved? He's like, yeah, I think there's programs or something like that. He's like,
oh.
And his fucking face when he like realizes like, fuck.
I'm like.
All this will come back at me.
I should be like, how do you like the Megs now?
The thing is, like, when was that? That video was like what, like over a year old or something like that, right?
It was a while ago.
Yeah, and like, I mean, these allegations. I don't know, like the timeline of the allegations. If these are ones that are from like a few years ago, but like, I feel like the guy, like, he has that realization and then continues doing his fucking shit. You know, like, he's still like, trying to risk it.
You know what's crazy though? He's the guy that used to call people out on just everything, dude.
There was another video where he's like, guys, just keep it in your pants. Like, is it that hard? Like, to not get in trouble?
Yeah. That's what makes it worse, is he's the one that called everyone out for all kinds of shit.
Yeah. He obviously he's always been very like in social media, like he'll do certain responses. I think what he like got in it with like Justin Bieber or something like that. He did like the joke, the Eminem like rap joke, which Eminem ended up using, I think, right? In like the end of his videos, it just that excerpt of what Chris did as a rap.
Bacon sandwiches.
Yeah. So like it's just hard like how we integrate these people into our lives, and then like the stuff happens. But I think like when it comes to like certain matters, like when it comes to comedy, I don't think anything should be like.
That's where I get bothered when when people like are like that's not good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. And
if you don't want to listen to it, like he's doing a routine. If like I feel like you typically will know what they are about, like their theme or their tone. If you're not interested, just change the channel.
Like,
that's how you should be. Like,
I don't mean like it to sound like a dick, because people have like I think legitimate arguments when they say like like there's so many things they could make a joke out of. Why do they have to like start making transphobic jokes, or why do they have to start like making certain type of jokes? But like I think like there just shouldn't be a restriction. Like if someone's gonna do that type of joke, obviously like like this is just a skit, this is just a comedy thing,
right?
The only thing is, I think one of the biggest matters is when like the punchline comes through. Like the punchline more than likely has to do with like a majority of people are transphobic, and that's why they find this joke funny, because like that's the way that they think. That's where like it does come into play. But like I don't know, like,
but like how many comedians have made jokes about their culture or cultures in general? Like, are we gonna call all of them? Are we gonna call all of them like, they're insensitive?
So I'm gonna be devil's advocate.
Okay.
I think there has to be a limit, but like, it's hard to say. So if it's like a race joke, they have to be spot on. Like their impersonation has to be spot on. Like, because like if it's not spot on, it could be taken.
See, but then like the opposite is like they have to go for it. Like if they can't, it's not something they can practice like on their own, or like in private and be like, hey, did this joke hit? And like they can't just say that. Like you have to try it.
Well,
like it's a one-time thing. So I think there is context, and there is it's tough. Like if the guy said it once,
the successful race jokes are the funny ones because they're very spot on. Like Russell Peters, Robin Williams.
Sure.
Like, but then there are other ones that are kind of like, not spot on.
See, but like, I think all these people too, they've written jokes where like it doesn't hit, and those are ones that don't stick with us. Like we don't hear them because they weren't famous. Like it didn't get a chuckle out of the whole audience, so that gets held off of like the DVD like version of this comedy, like. And so only like the very successful stuff stays, and that's why when like as time goes on, like a joke kind of like gets funnier or stays good. Because
Carlos Mencia comes to mind. Like I remember at the time I was younger, I would like everything he said was like hilarious to me. I was like, this guy is comical. A few years passed, I'm like, this guy sounds like an idiot to me. Like nothing, all his jokes like fall flat for me. Culture, non-culture, or whatever. But then you have guys like George Lopez, and it like kind of comes with like they learn it. I feel. I don't know. Like I feel I can see what you're saying, Jang. My thought is less that like they shouldn't do it. I just feel like they start like the more they do these routines, like Jang or Vargas is saying, they start learning what does work and what doesn't. Like if they're traveling the world doing comedy, they learn what is resonating with all their audiences versus like maybe one town thought it was funny, but all these other towns were like, that I don't relate to that. I feel like that might be my guess as to how they filter that out and like whether it stays or not. But like there's a lot of times where I hear people make jokes about like Middle Easterns or whatever, and it's very like crass or harsh, and like there's an audience for that where they like the really raunchy hardcore jokes. It's not for me, but I'm like, okay, like I'm just not gonna watch that person. But I don't know, like I feel comedy is definitely like a challenging area because that what people find funny, what people find offensive.
You know who I feel who does the offensive really well? South Park.
Oh god, yeah.
South Park.
Dude, they do it so well that they removed 3 episodes off of like HBO Max's South Park.
I heard, yeah.
Fucking, it's too much, or like they probably just don't want to deal with like the aftermath, like like the way like everyone's mentality is nowadays.
Yeah, some of that stuff, like you look back and you're like, would that survive now, or would that work
Yeah.
now? Like
But
the
I think
theme or the show as a whole.
I
Like
think with like, go for it.
I was just to add to what that is like what does and doesn't work now. I was seeing a bunch of articles going on that the creators of D&D are changing things about the mythos of like the base D&D stuff so that no race is inherently evil. Because people associate with certain like oh, I identify as this type of fantasy, and I'm not saying there's an argument. I'm not arguing for or against that. It's just
Mhm.
like that stuff then when it was originally created was never even thought of. It was just like hey, we got evil, we got good. We assign like a group of like orcs or goblins, and now people are like, well, I think that there's something to be said about the goblins or whatever. And it's like that's the culture we're in, and all that.
Yeah.
That's how perspectives are. We'll see where that takes. Yeah.
I think we're like cancel culture now. Like we're in a moment where like social media is huge. Like like anyone can get a tweet out there, and like that tweet can just like get huge. Like it could like it could
Yeah.
score into like thousands.
Visibility.
Of likes,
There's a lot more
thousands of likes.
visibility on everything.
Yeah, there's a lot more visibility, and I think because of that too, we have a lot more people that are more outspoken or not afraid to like say something. So when it comes to like racism, or when it comes to like bigotry, when it comes to all these different things, you get someone who's gonna get huge, and that's gonna start rolling, and people are like, you know what, this is true. Like we shouldn't have this, we shouldn't have that. And it's just, I think it's more out there, which I think is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but I think like it does hit a lot of points of where like if something was, it's tough to like, I don't want to like explain something and then someone take it the wrong way. Like I just think there are a lot of moments where like it's not something that should be like taken too seriously, but I think the concept is something that needs to be taken seriously. But like the item that they grab off of the internet to like show like this is not right. Like I think that those moments are too focused on, but like the idea, the concept that's bringing up is like like the general idea of saying like obviously sexual assault, sexual harassment, that's not right. That's the idea that like I want to put forward. But like sometimes like there are moments where like I don't know, like there is that, what is it, Angry Joe, or I forget the guy's name. He was someone that was like pinpointed specifically, and it turns out like he didn't really do anything wrong, and the lady was just trying to be part of the movement, and it ended up putting him in a bad spot. But then like he was able to like kind of show different things that shows like, hey, I'm not a part of like what's being said. Like I'm being like kind of like targeted specifically for something that's incorrect, and so like that kind of got pushed aside. But like I feel like there are moments where I don't know, it's hard to like explain it, because there are other moments that need to be shown like in the spotlight, like like Harvey Weinstein, and I want to just say names specifically that I know for sure. I don't want to like accidentally say someone's name that isn't like
that. I think that one captures it well enough. We don't have to, but I agree.
Yeah, so like I don't know, it's just tough. Like there's so much like that's being like thrown out there that it's
Sure.
like it's like a net of what to catch and pay attention to essentially. Yeah.
Anything else, Jang? For your final thoughts?
Negative.
Vargas, do you want to do your topic?
Yeah, we can move on to mine. Mine was with Mixer. I mean, they're not, I guess, technically closing. They're like
They got bought.
They got bought out, and so now it's going over to Facebook Gaming. What do you guys? I mean, we'll talk about like how they did everything, but like ultimately, like obviously, what do you guys think this means? Like Mixer being put with Facebook Gaming. Like, what does this mean for streaming in general?
Let's go to our resident streaming expert, Jang.
Well, I just want to add something. I'm kind of surprised King Gothalion went to Facebook.
Yeah.
He's streaming on Facebook. I'm like, wow, and he's getting like 4K viewers, so pretty healthy, you know.
I wonder if he's just trying it out. I mean, I haven't seen. There's two people that I followed off of Twitch, and that's Shroud, who like what's so funny is if I literally type in mix or mix, it'll put mixer/Shroud immediately for me. And then someone in the beginning after they moved that I followed was King Ithalian as well. But then I stopped eventually following King Ithalian, and it's just Shroud who I was following.
I'm kind of sad because like competition breeds like competitiveness, and that was one that tried and maybe had a good chance of taking out Twitch, but
well, do you think that this means that Twitch is just too much of a powerhouse to get taken out?
I mean, that's the same thing with YouTube. Like, no one's gonna like challenge it. I mean, it's gonna be hard. Like, and that gives them, the company Twitch, like the power to like get away with stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I know they got bought by it, and I know people have been dropped, or they're trying to. The content creators are finding a way to like, where do they go? But when they said they bought them, I feel like they're absorbing that, like whatever. So like when I'll give you an example. Like when what's that? There was a Android digital watch company. I forget what they're called before Fitbit, but Fitbit bought them. And incorporated a lot of the elements that made that other one so popular into Fitbit.
Right.
And then Google's now bought Fitbit and is now trying to like make a lot of Google Android elements. Like it'll become like the competitor to Apple Watches, which is like the de facto digital one. All these other ones really didn't do too well because they didn't have the resources or they didn't know that this or that. I feel like another side to this could be that like Facebook gaming, whatever it was, becomes better as a result of this acquisition, because whatever good things Mixer did do.
Yeah.
I think the part that's gonna suck is sucking is like the individual level of like the content creators, like not the platform. I feel like the platform might get better, but the content creators are gonna have to start over.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that's a feature thing
challenge
that we'll have to see for the platform to see if it does get better, specifically Facebook Gaming with it absorbing Mixer. But yeah, like that's the shittiest thing that they could have done is what they did is literally like no one knew, not even people in Mixer, until like the day they announced it. Where it's like, hey, we're Mixer's gone and it's gonna go to Facebook Gaming, and like there are people who built like relationships with their viewers on Mixer. Like there's people that have hundreds of concurrent viewers, and like their platform that these people are watching them on is going away. And you have to be like, hey, hundreds of viewers, come with me to Twitch, and that's a very tough thing. Like we've seen Ninja went from like hundreds of thousands of views to simply getting not even like 1,000 views on Mixer. I don't know what his like top number or what his like normal concurrent number was, but I think it was simply triple digits rather than 4 digits rather than the
larger number.
6 digits that it was before. Yeah, like the hundreds to 10,000.
Sure. Yeah, that's something.
So like someone that huge can't even bring like 10% of his viewers along with him.
Right, but I feel like that viewership then is not as like, what's the end goal? Is the money, and he got the money. And
yeah. Well, I mean that's someone that's big, like Ninja specifically. Like he got the money through Mixer, but like these small time viewers, obviously, like that have just 100 viewers, it's their job, and now like that money is like getting cut essentially. Like the viewership is getting cut, and like the amount that they'll make back is getting cut significantly at some point. Like it's if not at all of it, depending on who the person is and who's following them over to whatever platform they're going to go to. And that's tough. And like, I mean, with like specifically with me, I wouldn't want anything. Wouldn't want to associate myself with Facebook. Like I've already like kind of removed it off of my life. The only thing is it's on my computer. I still have an account, so I can still talk to friends. But I've removed it off my phone. Yeah. And I occasionally, like once a week, if I remember, I'll go on Facebook. I'll log on real quick, and I get like a million notifications of all these updates my friends have done. but yeah, like I wouldn't want to associate myself with Facebook gaming, so I just feel like it's something that like the platform simply like takes information and resells it to advertisers and different people, and that's something I don't want to be a part of. So I would probably end up having to move over to Twitch, where I'm now going to fight hundreds of thousands of streamers that are
Bart,
streaming
don't you?
daily.
Do you think that I don't know, but I feel like a company like Amazon and Twitch are probably using information. I don't know to what level of
Yeah.
like the same as.
Oh, they're listening, all right.
Yeah.
But the
Amazon.
association that I have with them versus Facebook isn't the same, so I'm okay with Twitch for
But
now. until
I feel
see
like
what's
there's
right.
always a price, dude. If Facebook's like, yo, we got a fat stack, come stream.
Something I don't know, Jang, if this is something that you've become more and more heightened with between your YouTube, Twitch, and what this has just been going on with this. But to me, it highlights a lot of like this is a relatively new career path for a lot of people, and for some it's a hobby, but for a lot of people, the ones we constantly hear about, they make a livelihood off of it, or they try to. And it just keeps pointing out, like, because it's so new, like, there's so many things that aren't, like, compared to an older type of career path, there's not as many clear-cut, like, protections. Like, there's no union for streamers, there's no labor, like, I don't know what labor laws, it's like whatever's in your contract, pretty much, and it's up to the Twitch streamer or stream content creator to protect themselves or not protect themselves. The smart ones that like might think ahead will have an agent, and they have all these things that they like, okay, I'm gonna get this in writing, but a lot of them are kids.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this just like highlights a lot more of that, just this is the Wild West of what's going on, and like it's like when the internet was still Wild West, and now it's like everywhere I go. I remember like on YouTube, now I'm getting like 2 ads a video where I'm like, YouTube never had
Now
ads,
you're gonna get 5.
ever. Yeah.
Mixer's
And
gone
like
okay.
Twitch is just like every 5 minutes I'm watching an ad on Twitch now. And it's like all these areas, they're finding ways to take advantage of us and abuse us, and it's like people that are running it are fueling it and stuff. Need to like there's not as much structure, and it's like they need like it's things like this that are hard wake up calls. Like when Ninja and Shroud started making those deals with Mixer, it started pointing out like, okay, people are protecting themselves by getting contracts. Like that's a part of the whole competition aspect of it. It's like they're to get a contract, like that's how like, okay, then Twitch had to like keep people by giving them contracts. Now this happens, and it's like people might want, like, if they have something with a platform, maybe a part of their contract now is like they're now aware of like, oh, what happens if the platform drops or whatever.
I
Like,
wanna
how do I protect myself?
I wanna give a shout out to Ninja though, because of him, dude. Like Twitch never paid people to stay on their platform.
Well,
And
no
so,
one really did.
I mean, now I guess I don't know. It might be different.
The thing is,
No,
like,
exactly, and I feel like that's the part where it's like on the player side or the content creator side, things like that being made possible or being shown that they're possible. It's like that. Those are the structural elements that they need to start to protect themselves from, like blind. Like if like a company went under now, like Telltale, when they went under and they let go all their people with just, like super short notice, that was breaking like state law of like you need to give your employees X amount of days of notification before you let them go. And like I don't know if that's going to happen or not, like if they have any grounds for that, if people are like doing lawsuits against Mixer or whatever, I don't know, but that's something that I feel like hasn't been said about it as clearly as like, oh yeah, obviously they broke the law here, it's fixed. Here it's like, who knows, like they're just SOL.
yeah, and it gets weird,
Yeah,
but
that's
I think like we were saying, well, I think Jang was talking about how like competition creates like a better environment essentially.
Yeah.
But like this environment is now gone. Like, so deals, I think as of right now are a thing of the past because there's nothing really competing with Twitch. I don't think Facebook might like
YouTube's still getting people.
Yeah, like YouTube or Facebook might still try to buy, but like I don't think it's going to be as big as obviously like the way Ninja, Shroud.
Yeah, the price is
kinda
gonna
end up
be
getting
as
it.
much.
Yeah, like, and the thing is like, it's tough. Like but like those numbers, I don't think will be the same. Obviously, like
Right.
nowhere near
I
that.
don't think the numbers will be, but I think the ideas of contracts, like I want like they do partnership, like the Gillette did something
Yeah,
with
multi-year stream.
Dr. Lupo, or like content creators may maybe not have ties to a platform but have ties to games. Like, oh, I'm the spokesperson of this game, or I'm a spot, like I with Adidas do these tournaments or whatever.
Yeah.
Like finding that those ties and partnerships and like making them very proper business. Like I feel like there's some business models that they need to like start.
This is kind of off tangent. If you're the head of YouTube, what do you do to compete with Twitch? What's your plan to compete with them?
I think they need to market. I feel like one thing I was reading about, and like I guess I feel like I was observing, was that Mixer might have been, I don't know the infrastructure of like what made it compatible or not in comparison to Twitch, like what it offered for the streamer, what it offered for the viewer. But like I like the fact that there was no marketing ever. The only time I ever heard about it was when Xbox had a presentation for their games. They would be like, "Oh, and this could be done on Mixer."
I mean, what's
like,
crazy?
okay, you're selling your own shit.
What's crazy is big YouTubers don't use YouTube to stream. They use Twitch, like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. They use Twitch to stream.
Yeah.
They don't even use their own platform where they're the biggest.
I think, yeah, YouTube does do a horrible job in like really showing their like gaming section, or like their streaming section. Like it's like if you go to youtube.com/gaming, that is like the streaming, but it shows it as like its own thing, like gaming, subscribe to gaming in general, you know. And then like you look at it and it shows you like the top games, which one of them is apparently Super Mario Brothers 2 with 30k people watching. I don't know who's playing with like that many people watching it. But then like as I scroll down, it shows simply videos. They're not even live streams. It's like it shows Nintendo's Smash Bros video. It's not even showing like live feeds. Like that's so dumb. Like why the hell would I look at YouTube gaming and you're gonna show me videos still? Like I'm here to look
I feel like it's intuitive too, like the layout of Twitch versus YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like Twitch's layout, it's like, okay, on your left, on like a desktop computer for instance, on your left is all the channels you follow. You can have browsing, you can go to sports, you have your own channel, and then you can search. Like it's just, with YouTube I'm like, okay, I got like my regular everything. I don't know, I feel like there's always a lot going on, and it's trying to tell me 100 things at once.
Yeah.
So I feel like some clarity and not just bombarding me with everything would help it. Maybe some like getting you to be like, okay, go here, start here.
I think YouTube has to segregate its streaming from its regular video.
Loaded word.
It has to keep it separate because like it's trying to put everything together, and it just doesn't fucking work. Like if I go to YouTube streaming, you know, like or look at specific streaming, I want to see everything streaming. I don't want you to show me videos like that are, you know, already just standard YouTube videos. Like I can go to YouTube for that, you know. I think that's something it has to separate. It has to keep as two different points for it to become more successful. So that's something I do, as I try to somehow get that separation so people understand that there is a streaming section and then there's the standard YouTube section when it comes to that. But I don't know. I think for now Twitch will still stay on top. I think there are moments where there is a chance for a company to go ahead and beat like you know, like Twitch or something like that, and I think that moment is, I think we're pretty close to that moment where like if something were to like try to change to become better than Twitch,
like a
has a good chance.
brand new company.
I think that moment's now because like YouTube's messing up, or not YouTube, Twitch is messing up because they've done the whole like, they made everyone delete their bots because of the scare. Like
DMCA,
the whole DMCA takedown thing, where like there was people where they're like, I've gotten 2 immediately just now, and if I get a 3rd one, my channel's completely deleted. Like that scare is insane. So then people are like, and so they're like, what should I do? And like there were responses, like legitimate official responses saying like, oh, just to be safe, you should delete all your bots. and everyone's like, holy shit. And so like someone created a program that like logs into your account and just starts deleting every VOD you've ever had just to keep you safe. Like that's crazy. Now people don't have like these old VODs, you know, like the video on demands where they can just see these videos anymore. And that's all from just a small decision that Twitch decided to make. And so that's a huge scare. And I think with that going on right now, like it technically is a good chance for like a different company to kind of jump ahead, but like no one's in that position. I mean, well, there are YouTube Gaming, which I honestly don't think YouTube Gaming has a chance. Or I'm sorry, not YouTube Gaming, Facebook Gaming. I think YouTube's the only one that has a good chance, but they have to change their model with how everything is.
They need to have it on the front page, to be honest. Like something like a section.
I think if I go to YouTube, like there should be a section for me to go to the streaming area, and it shows me all streaming. But like again, it doesn't. It just does not do that, which is horrible. Yeah. They even have a section called YouTube Live, which doesn't show anything like actually live streaming. Oh my gosh, dude. So bad.
I think Krosh has gummies.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like you gotta show like.
I don't know. I feel incentivized with like maybe it's partially just knowing. You just know Twitch so well. I feel like the things about like when I go to Jang's channel, for instance, at the Last Bosses, I know that he's got his emotes. I know he's got his subscribe stuff. It's like it just all feels right. But like when I go to another platform, like I've seen Mixer, Facebook Gaming, just the whole UI, I'm just like I don't want to do
this. This may be a lot of money. What if they had celebrity stream on YouTube?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to start it, or at
like
least
Will
get
Smith.
the ball
I mean, that's
rolling.
gonna be a lot of money.
I mean, it's
think
like
if
Google money.
they did, yeah, if they did contracts where it's like, hey, PewDiePie, hey, Mr. Beast,
Jack
like,
Black.
can you guys do live streams? You know,
Jablinski.
like you have to do like a minimum 4-hour live stream or something like that, or like live
Not
stream
even a
for
live-
4 hours and-
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the people that go to YouTube prefer not doing. I don't know. I've said like I think YouTube did the whole like they have all the tournament stuff for Blizzard.
Mhm.
Blizzard signed with that, so that's one thing they've been doing. But I haven't seen it go anywhere since then because Blizzard's just been having a lot of shit show since.
Yeah.
They haven't had much good news their way, so. But it maybe there's more to be done by other game companies. Like if Google throws their money at other people to do tournaments for them, they could have a big thing, like we said.
Like Mortal Kombat 11, Evo.
Yeah, Evo, bring that over.
Oh
there.
shit! I forgot to mention I was training.
You've been training.
No, I mean one day.
Okay.
Train on stream, bro.
I can't,
Yeah.
man. I did. I streamed on YouTube yesterday.
Okay.
It was bad. I hate the game.
Damn.
I think ultimately the Mixer going away is not a good thing for streaming in general. Like it's
Yeah.
getting rid of a lot of the competition that was happening. I think like contracts again will still happen because there's still two other platforms, sort of the 3 platforms that do streaming, but like the numbers are going to be significantly lower. Where people were getting paid probably millions for a contract,
Sure.
I'm looking at like just like hundreds of thousands of dollars now, rather than
I
like,
think the silver lining is just like a higher awareness of like the risks of like what you do and where you want to do it for streaming.
I have a quick question. Do you guys, or when you do check Facebook, do you guys see streams recommended to you?
No.
on Facebook.
Literally 90% of my Facebook stuff is here's a memory, and everyone else sharing their memories.
I get recommended streams on my Facebook.
I know that there was a point where like I think I was watching Disguised Toast, and I think when I was watching him, not like I wasn't watching him a lot, but when I would watch him, I would get recommended like, hey, here's other live streams you might be interested in, but I never watched any of them. So I think maybe if you say like obviously like Facebook's able to see that you're looking at live streams, it'll recommend live streams, but I've stopped since then and it hasn't recommended me anything.
what'd be crazy is if like Nintendo partnered with YouTube or with a platform, be like, only here are we allowing people to stream our games.
Fuck.
I think that
I
would be a
mean-
big move. That'd be a noticeable move.
That'd be nothing to do because they, for the longest time, they're like, no, don't stream our shit. But like, I think that it would be a big move. I don't think Nintendo is the one that can carry it though. I would say like Epic Games.
Maybe
be
or
pretty good.
Fortnite or something. I just feel like
Well, that's Fortnite,
to-
yeah.
I feel like Nintendo, like if you had the next Breath of the Wild come out, and the only place you're allowed to stream it is on one platform, I think that would be a big
Yeah,
spike.
but it wouldn't carry it. That would be like a momentary spike, and then it
Right,
like
but-
die out again.
Like that, like it would be a move that people would say like that could happen, much like how Ninja moving to Mixer was like, whoa, that can happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't carry momentum after it. They needed to do more moves that they didn't.
Mhm.
But I think that could be a play. Like that would be something to be like, oh,
Yeah.
now
I-
like I as a viewer, I'd be like, okay, I will use that platform to watch.
You know when he comes back, he's gonna break some records, man.
Well, so I was listening to Trihex talk about this, and he's like, what's the next move for some of these big guys like Shroud and Ninja? Because they've got money. They don't need to stream the way they have. They could expand their platform potentially in other ways, like more partnerships or deals. They could go back to what like just streaming more and doing that successfully. They have options now, and it's like he's like, I'm very curious to see what they do next.
To be
In any direction.
it kind of sucks for Microsoft because that was their Halo Infinite like marketing, and now that shit's gone, dude. Like a huge chunk is gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe they were like, we just needed some, clout our way or something.
I mean, I would have just waited until just hold on. Wait until Halo Infinite. If it doesn't work out, then fuck it. Like, abandon it.
I
Maybe,
think
maybe Facebook gave him a lot of money.
Shit, you're right. You're right.
not a game similar to Fortnite, but like Fortnite at its height is like a good chance for like someone to pick it up. But then like at the height of Fortnite, if someone wanted to be like, hey, Fortnite, I want you to exclusively have like, or like I want exclusive streaming rights for your game. Like that would be an insane amount of money. First of all, at the height of Fortnite's thing, like for YouTube Gaming to be like, hey, you know, they can only stream on our platform if that's cool with you guys. We'll
Right.
pay you, you know, $1 gazillion. Or for Twitch to do that. Like
Right.
that's I think like a game at that level is the only chance a platform would have, if anything. But then like that's a chance that they're willing to take, you know, because then like I mean Fortnite the way it is now, I don't think has a chance of saving like a specific platform if it was exclusive to that platform. But
I don't think any one thing can do it. I feel like much like a streaming service, it's what all of these end up making like the total package look like.
yeah.
And you're looking at like the one that like, okay, where do I go for X, Y, and Z? Here. So that's where you go.
Mhm.
You need more than just one thing. Like Mandalorian was great, but that alone won't carry Disney Plus. Like you need
No,
the
Hamilton.
entire
Though.
Disney Vault. You need the Hamilton. You need, you're finally getting Jang in there. But like I think like when you have these platforms, you want overall attention. It's like gonna take many moves. It's gonna take. I don't think like we can any one thing like the Nintendo move or the Fortnite or any of these things. It's gonna be like you gotta build and like for YouTube and Facebook they've got a long ways to go before I think they get
Yeah.
that. Like they still have many steps to climb.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know what else. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I think it's a bad thing that Mixer went away, and I hope either I hope YouTube Gaming changes or YouTube's live streaming. I don't know if it's even part of gaming because gaming seems like it's just all the game related videos. But
Right. Yeah.
I hope they're able to like show a just specific streaming area, or that we get like another platform that's able to.
Pornhub.
To do better.
Oh, there we go.
Pornhub. Let's go.
Bold move, Facebook.
Fans
We should
only.
just start. We should just start fake rumors that they're gonna start doing live streaming.
You heard it here first. Cool. Guys, where can people find you?
They can find me at the Fulio365 on Instagram and in the Fulio everywhere else.
At the last bosses everywhere.
At Gojo Prime for me, and you can find us all at the weekly DLC. Please enjoy another installment of our episode. We'll be back next week with another episode. Guys, we're not that far away from 200.
Ooh.
200 likes.
I mean, just
We
throwing
should
it out
do
there.
200 live in person. Like, that's when
Honestly.
COVID ends.
OBS. We're gonna officially end COVID. Like, this is the episode that ends it. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, we'll
DLC.
You later.